Jim Carroll, Ralph Baber, psychology takeaway. You need a dose of the real, life's absurd, we know the deal. Did you hear? Don't let it get you down. Turn that frown upside down, upside down, 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 upside.
Hi there. Welcome to Psychology Takeaway. This is Jim,
And Ralph.
and we are going to continue with our part 2 of sleep.
Okay, so part one of sleep was mostly about what good effects sleep had on mental and physical health.
How do you like my persona?
I like your persona. This is
It's not
Jay Cool,
Jay Cool, Dr. Jay Cool,
Dr. Jay Cool,
or Dr. Cool Jay.
Dr. Cool Jay.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, it has nothing to do with sleep, but I had forgotten to put them on ahead of time. So there you go. Hey, we're live here, folks. We don't.
And the
edit.
thing is, with sunglasses that dark, we'll never know if Jim's asleep during the podcast.
That's right. I wonder why most of my students wear sunglasses in a very dark classroom.
So we know from the previous podcast that the brain is remarkably active while we sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So we have alpha waves.
It's not like we've shut it off or it's doing nothing. It's doing something, and it's doing things that are very important. Okay.
So alpha waves,
That's relaxation,
theta waves,
getting deeper into sleep,
and
delta,
deep sleep.
very deep sleep, and then back to REM sleep with beta waves.
Beta
Again.
waves, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you're awake, but you're not.
Yeah. So, we think, okay, well, the brain shut down. No, it's not. And what the brain is doing, among other things, it's processing a whole day's worth of waste products.
Mm-hmm. Emotional stuff, consolidating new information, consolidating memories. Yeah, it's doing a lot of work.
Yeah. So we know that the brain uses about 20% of the available energy.
Okay, so for 3 pounds of meat, it's a little parasite, isn't it?
Yes, it's kind of like one of the AI centers. It uses a lot of what's available.
Okay. So it uses energy, and it also uses oxygen, to feed it, right?
Right.
Okay.
And the thing is, you say, well, everything uses oxygen in our body, but the brain is an oxygen hog.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we looked at the things that the brain does. Today we're going to look at the things the brain perhaps doesn't do. We're going to start with insomnia.
Yeah, the brain does a lot of things well, but there are times that we can say it has a disorder. It doesn't do things the way it should.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
insomnia is one of the most common disorders.
Yeah. About at any one point in time, about half the population of the United States, which would perhaps extrapolate to half the population of the planet, which would be about 4 billion people, have difficulty getting to sleep, staying asleep, or sleeping, awakening prematurely. So that's insomnia. Now, if it happens once, it's not a big deal. But if it happens,
Why is it not a big deal? Like, why would it happen once and not be regular?
yeah. Well, let's see. Suppose I'm going to get a performance evaluation from my boss, or I'm a student and I'm going to be defending my doctoral dissertation in front of a committee of 3 professors. Okay, got the scenario?
Yeah,
Okay.
tough stuff. You're anxious.
I'm anxious, and that anxiety could keep me awake.
Okay.
There's just enough, what would it be, cortisol, pumping through my system to really keep me, awake and even kind of alert. I get a good evaluation. I pass my doctoral defense. The next night, I sleep like a baby. Okay?
Okay.
So I've lost one night. That's not insomnia. That's a situational sleep disorder.
So we have to say then that insomnia is a disorder that happens regularly.
Yeah, and has a debilitating effect on your daytime performance.
Okay, so I don't sleep. I have insomnia for 4 nights in a row, and I come in on Friday and I just can't effectively work.
You're a mess.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So then you say, okay, well, that has a bad effect on my mind and body.
Okay, yep. And in our series, we talked about why you sleep, the importance. Today we're talking about the disorders of sleep. Next time we're going to talk about dreaming. Next time after that, nightmares. And then finally, we're going to get to the solution.
Okay, there is a solution.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but you have to hang in there for 3 more weeks.
Okay, well, the thing is that, so we have regular insomnia, and that has a deleterious effect on our
On performance. Yeah.
Now, that sometimes, we use the example of work. It had a deleterious effect on our work performance.
Uh-huh.
But it also can have deleterious effects on our family performance.
Oh, of course. On all aspects of our performance. Driving a car when you're sleep deprived is not a good thing because you might doze off just for a little bit, and all of a sudden at 70 miles an hour, going down the Queen Elizabeth Expressway, you're not going down the expressway anymore, right?
Yeah, you're off on the side of the road and saying, oh, before the car goes over and over. And
Over and bye-bye, Ralph.
yeah. That we don't want to do that.
No. So if you have a sleep disturbance, it should be taken seriously, whether that's insomnia or some other kind of sleep disturbance.
Okay. So now, one of the things, Jim, that we talked about, you and I talked about, was the infamous mouse experiment.
Oh, yeah, right. Hey, old mice like you and I are much more affected by sleep deprivation than young mice, like our students at CMU.
Okay, how do we know this?
There was a study that was done and the study evolved over time, but the final study was to use older mice that are about a year and a half old, which translates into about a 70 or 80-year-old individual, because a year and a half old mouse is an old mouse.
Okay.
And they had some, I think 6-month-old mice
Okay.
or rats.
So they were the equivalent, let's say, of what, a 20-year-old
Yeah,
maybe?
a teen. So,
Yeah.
20 years. Okay. And picture the scene. There's a wheel, and the wheel is moving,
Okay.
and the rat or the mouse has to walk as the wheel moves so that it doesn't, tip over the edge and, fall off the wheel.
Okay. Now,
And they've got a trick in here, too. Go ahead, Ralph.
well, I was going to say, the thing is that both rats and mice can swim, but they hate it.
Yeah. See, I hadn't put the water in there yet.
Yeah.
But that's what they did. They put the wheel in the water, and now when the rat or mouse gets to the edge, if it doesn't keep walking back, it's going to go into the water. And like you say, rats and mice don't like water.
Okay. So
Okay.
So there they are. Now, there's a young rat or mouse, and there's an old rat or mouse.
Yeah, well,
And we're doing a comparative study here.
no, well, not exactly. We're going to take a bunch of young rats and see what they do. And so we put our young rats on the wheel, and they last for a long time. They stay awake and they don't splash into the water. So
Okay.
that's one leg of the study. We're going to keep everything the same, except we're going to put older rats now on the wheel and
Okay.
see how they do. We're going to time them and find out how well they perform. Well, the old rats didn't have any staying power at all. They got tired, they closed their eyes, and guess what? Splash.
Fell asleep and ended up in the water.
Yeah. So the scientists wondered what was going on. Were they getting just plain too tired? And so they began to look at the young rats and the old rats, and they noticed that the young rats would get to the edge just before the water. They'd run back across the wheel, and it looked like they were getting little micro sleeps, maybe a few seconds or so of closing their eyes.
Okay,
And
so the wheel was not going particularly fast.
Right.
And they could go back and then close their eyes.
Catch a few seconds of sleep.
Okay, maybe 3 seconds,
Maybe, yeah.
and that might be enough to keep them going.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that the old rats necessarily had really poor muscle power. It was that they couldn't catch the microsleep.
Right. Maybe they didn't even know that they could have a microsleep. I don't know. But the young rats seemed to, be able to do it.
Okay.
Now, I work with college students, and no, they don't come into class with their dark glasses on. Some of them just plain sleep in
Okay.
class. And I never wake them up because I figure, well, they might need their sleep. And this is maybe the best place in town to sleep.
Okay.
You've got a nice, comfortable chair. Not exactly. You have the lulling voice of your professor. Okay. But they might be catching a microsleep. And you've talked to me before, Ralph, about elite forces like SEALs. They can apparently stay awake for long periods of time.
The desire is that they be able to function still at the end of 72 hours of being awake.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. That's 3 days. So if you're operational, you might, just to preserve life and get the mission done, have to stay
Might
up
have to do it.
for 3 days. Now,
High
hopefully,
motivation to do that. Okay.
yeah, kind of staying alive is, a motivation. But the thing is that there also these particular soldiers are highly mission driven, much more so than many other people. So your students who come in, and I think this is not isolated to your class. There are a lot of them that come in, put their heads on their desk, and fall asleep in various subjects. So you say, okay, well, that's the nature of the student these days. No, it was the nature of the student 40 years ago.
100 years ago.
But the thing is that, when you and I were in high school a lot of years ago, we had teachers who came around with a yardstick and banged on our desk to wake us up.
That would be Mr. Bell.
Yes,
It was-
Mr. Bell.
Yeah.
So the thing is that, the mission for a student is to learn. And the student might say, well, I can learn from my textbook. I can learn from an audio recording. I have other resources I can use. So if I fall asleep in class for 10, 15, 40 minutes, it's no big deal,
Okay. Yeah.
rightly or wrongly.
Yeah. And the special forces guy, so if I fall asleep for 10 minutes, I might be dead, right?
Yeah.
So he's highly motivated to stay awake. Got another study for you, Ralph.
Okay.
Okay. Remember William Demmett? I talked about him last week.
Yes.
Okay, the guy who really started, with sleep research and asked the question, what is going on while people sleep?
Yeah.
In one very famous study that he did, he contacted and contracted with a New York disc jockey named Peter Tripp.
Okay.
Now, Peter Tripp was 49 years old, so he's older than your Navy SEALs or your elite forces, right? A
Yeah,
little bit.
because the standard is you can be active until you're about 40.
Okay.
And then you don't end up not being a SEAL. You end up being a trainer
Okay.
because,
So this guy's a little older than a SEAL, perhaps. So here's the scenario: he's a disc jockey, so he plays records, right?
right.
Okay. Now, rather than being in a studio, they set up a studio in Times Square in New York City. It was all glass, so people could watch him as he did his disc jockey thing.
Okay.
Now, you might say, why would somebody be a disc jockey in a glass cage in New York City, right?
Right.
Well, he was trying to raise money for the March of Dimes or Community Chest or something like that, a charity that he.
A worthy cause.
Yeah, so he was motivated. The idea is, okay, we're going to have him do his show for 3 days.
Okay. 72 hours.
72 hours. And we're going to watch and see, says Demet, what happened. Well, it wasn't pretty.
Okay.
At the end of 24 hours, he was lethargic. He was certainly tired. He began to lose some motor skills. The ability to write, which was pretty good initially, really deteriorated. At the end of about 36 hours, he looked up at the clock in his studio, and instead of seeing the hands going around, it was, a analog clock. There was the face of a friend of his, and the face in the clock was talking to him. That's hallucinations, Ralph.
It is.
Uh-huh. At the end of about 40 hours, he couldn't do a simple maze task that he could do with ease at the beginning. The sleep researchers were feeling badly for him. They said he looked like a blind mouse trying to fumble his way through a maze.
Okay.
At the end of 48 hours, 2 days in, something interesting happened. Dr. Wolf, who was part of the medical team, was examining him at various times. And so here's Peter Tripp on a table being examined by Dr. Wolf. And Tripp looks up, and this is in Demet's book. He sees Dr. Wolf, who looked rather like an undertaker, and he was convinced that Dr. Wolf was an undertaker who was about to bury him alive. Now, as he looked at Wolf's suit turned into a suit of hairy worms that were wriggling around also. So, okay, you got a guy with a suit of hairy worms, Ralph, who's going to bury you alive. What might you do?
Run away.
And that's exactly what he did. He got out of the Times Square booth and ran down whatever avenue, 42nd Street, I guess it is, with the doctors in hot pursuit. At the end of 48 hours, his life deteriorated into nightmare horrishness.
Now, the thing I guess we could say is, and here's a question that I don't think Demet and the researchers ever answered, is if you had a serious task that somebody could focus on, would that have happened at that time? And by that I mean a disc jockey, and Jim and I have both been disc jockeys in our youth. You put on a record, and you've got anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes of downtime.
Mm-hmm.
So the record is playing, and you're sitting there marking time until it's time for you to get on your mic and say, that was so-and-so, and now we're going to listen to blah, blah. And in the meantime, send money, which is your task. But you've had these intervals, short or long, of doing nothing. So I don't know that would have an effect, but I'd be interested in trying that question to see if continuous task focus was different than intermittent task focus.
Okay. Well, this is kind of a nice thing about our podcast, Ralph, is we don't have a script, so we don't have to stick to a script. Okay?
Yeah.
So I can answer some of that. The person that has the most continual task-oriented job in the world is an air traffic controller.
I believe that.
Okay. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with sleep. I'm pretty sure that these guys don't get much sleep during their shift.
Right.
But if they are working a double shift, they are apt to make mistakes. And
Okay.
if an air traffic controller makes a mistake, that has huge consequences. So staying alert, staying awake, would be their focus. And
Right.
we know that one of the jobs that has the biggest burnout rate is,
Air traffic controllers.
because of the continual stress of being alert, being awake, making decisions, and making the right decision every time. There's zero tolerance here. You can't be good 99% of the time. Because if you're wrong 1% of the time, what happens?
Somebody in an aircraft makes a landing in the East River in New York City.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Lives are at stake. So, yeah, I think that you could be right, with the focus thing. Your elite special forces, give us that kind of thing, idea. But, I don't know if Tripp had to do something for the entire 48 hours or 72 hours if the results would have been, really any different.
Well, the thing is that the special forces guys might, in fact, be like the young mice. They might be able to take micro bursts of sleep, like 2 seconds here, 3 seconds there, and just shut off, shut on very quickly.
Possibly so. Yeah. So we've looked a little bit at the people who have difficulty getting to sleep and staying asleep, but most of the time we've been talking about people who are, awake, doing something.
Okay.
And then the effects of sleep deprivation. But that sleep deprivation could continue if you have 2, 3, 4 nights where you just plain can't sleep, and then you have to do something in the daytime, and by the end of the week you're really beat. And we'll talk about the solution. But another kind of sleep disorder is apnea.
Okay.
Would you like me to do my world-famous demonstration of apnea?
Go for it.
Okay. This freaks my students out. Okay. So...
That is not so good sounding.
It isn't. It is. And the reason for that snort isn't just normal snoring. The reason for the snort is that's that brain again. It's waking you up so that you can breathe.
Yeah, and it's telling you, I've still got energy, but I don't have any oxygen.
Yeah. Wake up and breathe,
Yeah.
fool. Yeah. So that's what happens with sleep apnea. Somebody stops breathing. And there are lots of different problems associated with that. Some people have a collapse in the neck. Some people are overweight, and that puts a strain on the breathing. But whatever the cause, if you stop breathing for 30 seconds, that's not going to be huge, not going to be a huge problem. You stop breathing for 30 seconds 30 times a night, and all of a sudden that's 15 minutes of not breathing.
Yeah.
I know of a person who is documented to have had a 117 sleep apneas. So that's 117 divided by 2 that's almost an hour's worth of no oxygen, coming in. And that does not do the brain any favors at all.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that we kind of know about Alzheimer's disease is that a lot of people may not ever recognize that they stop breathing, and they may not have that to the serious degree that apnea is, but they might be not getting enough oxygen, even though they say, I don't wake up snorting,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's strictly speculation on my part, but I think there are lots of things that we could look at with sleep and physical disorders or mental
Yeah.
problems that are caused by lack of oxygen to the brain.
Yeah. Could be, Ralph, that you might have something here. Maybe once a year or twice a year, just like you visit your dentist, your hygienist, maybe you should check into a sleep lab and have a sleep there for a night and see what happens.
Yeah.
Are you awakening? Are you sleeping? Talking? Are you walking? I mean, we talked to the manager of where we get our coffee, and she said in her family they're all sleep talkers and sleepwalkers, and it doesn't seem to bother her very much. But if you are a sleepwalker and end up walking into traffic, that's going to be a problem.
It is.
So these things are, there are potential solutions, for all of them.
Yeah. And we'll talk about solutions in the
Near future.
In the future, yeah. Now, the other thing we should talk about briefly is narcolepsy.
Right, the opposite of insomnia, that's sleeping inappropriately.
Okay, so...
Well, I'm singing in a choir. Suddenly I fall asleep.
Yeah, I'm climbing a ladder up to my roof to replace a shingle.
You fall asleep. It's a dangerous place to fall asleep, Ralph.
It is, yeah. I'm driving down the highway at 70 miles an hour.
Don't fall asleep.
No, and I suddenly fall asleep.
Yep, it's there.
Yeah.
Back in the weeds, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So sleep, hopefully you will have noticed this rapid onset of unconsciousness early in your life and would have sought some kind of a solution. And again, we'll talk about all of those solutions because it's going to come down to finding somebody else who's going to be able to help you get to sleep, stay asleep, or if you are asleep, wake up, to keep you safe. That's what we want to see.
Yeah. And, one of the things that also goes along with our emotional life, and it's not a common thing, but it seems to be related to sleep, is cataplexy. So if you suddenly feel a strong emotion, and it could be any kind of emotion, love, hate, anger, and suddenly you are semi-paralyzed. You feel you can't move. That's catalepsy. And, it's, again, associated with problems with emotion and sleep.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting. They say sleep because when you're in REM sleep, you're paralyzed. Even though your brain is functioning, it's called paradoxical sleep because it looks like you're awake from an EEG, but you're completely paralyzed. And so when do you get paralyzed? Well, with catalepsy. You get paralyzed. Maybe it has something to do with REM activity. We really don't know very much about it.
Yeah.
We know it does happen.
We know it happens, and we know it's not very common, which is one of the reasons we don't know very much about it, because it's kind of hard to investigate.
Right. Yeah, that's where the sleep clinic, comes in.
Comes in.
Yeah. So we've taken a look quickly at some of the sleep disorders, and insomnia is one, apnea is another, catalepsy is another, narcolepsy is another. Let's move on to dreams next week, Ralph.
Okay, to sleep, perchance to dream.
Aye, there's the rub. Until next time, this is Jim
And Ralph,
saying keep your stick on the ice.
because we're all in this
Together. Okay. Now, where... See, not having that... What does it say down there? Can you read that?
Add another video.
No, we don't want that one. What does this one say up here?
Create new recording.
No, I don't want that one either. And that's record.
Yeah, that's record. That's pause.